Count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live, Mayor Neil.
Hey, and welcome to another rendition of the orientation at Shots at the Shop. I'm Omar Neal. I'll be serving as one of your moderators. We have Dr. T will be hanging out with us too as the other moderator. I'm the host of the You Got the Power show as the former mayor of Tuskegee, Alabama. And today we're going to really engage in a lot of subject matters that will concern you. Things like finance and how it relates to the whole COVID experience. We are talking with barbers and stylists around the country. And what I have come to realize is the importance of our barbers and our stylists. They don't just cut your hair or style your hair. They are an integral part of our community. They are the foundation of the fabric of our community. And so we elevate you and we praise you for what you do. And so I'm so appreciative to have that conversation today, which is the value of stylists and barbers in our community. Dr. T, how you doing today?
Well, Omar, first of all, it's so good to be back in the Hollywood squares. And, every Thursday, think about this, every single Thursday for the past several months, we've been in this space. And our commitment is to keep this thing going. I want you to realize, remember when I say they, but we, the country, spiked the ball on the 30th yard line and claimed victory? Remember that?
Yeah.
And then, but the point is in the several days or weeks during that time, I stopped seeing COVID stories on the front page of the newspaper. I had to get into like A19 before I saw something. So that's how fast the powers that be want to be off the topic. Then Delta comes back, and Delta is like a whole different ball game. We're in for the long haul, people. This is a long game. And our aim is to establish our barbers and stylists as an infrastructure that can be sustained and supported. And let's acknowledge, Omar, the frustration. There's frustration. There's empathy, fatigue. There's all kinds of things that we're experiencing. And I'm going to ask folks to find that space for tolerance, find that space to give us a chance to get through this. There's a lot of forces working against us. We're out ahead of it a little bit now. We keep this thing going. So it's a beautiful day here in Maryland. It's like sunshine after the rain. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. 70 degrees, low humidity. And yet we are still climbing in COVID cases. Beautiful and dangerous at the same time. Welcome, everybody. This is the solution space.
It's in that you're absolutely correct, Dr. T. One of the things that I realized is that out of sight, out of mind. That does not just, relegate itself to individuals who you don't see and you forget about them. But when you are not matching the intensity of the conversation with the communities, with the danger that lurks, then I think it gives people a false sense of security. Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
When a couple of months ago, when they said, okay, if you're vaccinated, then you can now stop wearing your mask. And so the vaccinated and the unvaccinated took that charge, and they said, okay, so now everything's okay now. And then come Delta, and you see how it is spiked. When you look at Delta in May, Delta was about 2%.
Yep.
Now it's 95+% of the virus in our country. It went in 3 months, it went from 2% to 95%. When they talk about the transmissibility of this virus, it is a very different virus from the first one. Why haven't we matched the intensity in terms of our conversation to match the danger that lurks? It's like we talked about it in terms of a storm.
Yep.
There's a storm arising. And if we don't position ourselves, if we don't shelter ourselves, if we don't prepare for this storm, it will overtake us. So just now, we were just in a storm down south, and many people were displaced. We do know that that storm even went up north and did much damage there, and people even lost their lives. Well, we're in a storm with Delta as well. And this storm is going through this country, and it's taking lives. I mentioned it yesterday, and I think it's important to mention it on this forum as well. I had the vice president of the Florida Education Association on my show on Wednesday, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that 51 teachers, school personnel have died from COVID in this last month, and they've just been in class or in session since August, and they have already had 51. Now compare this, Dr. T.
Mm-hmm.
51 to they had 43 the whole year before. 51 in the first month. 6 children have died from COVID in the state of Florida already. And these are young children, school-age children.
Some healthy.
Died from COVID, right? So this is a new ball game. So we need to recalibrate, reassess, and come out with a greater level of intensity to really talk to people about the importance of vaccination, to protect themselves and their families and their communities. That's where I think we are now.
Now, Mr. Mayor, before we open up and we have some folks in the spotlight, I'm so excited tonight. But there was some breaking news since we last met. We have a licensed vaccine, right? FDA approved. So for all the people on the fence saying, I'll wait till it gets approved, it is now licensed and approved. Now, some of those folks just moved the goalpost to a whole nother place.
Right.
But some people, there's been an uptick in people getting vaccinated because companies are now mandating vaccination. So I'm curious what barbers and stylists are hearing in their chair as people are in jobs where they have to be vaccinated or they can't go to work, or what kind of buzz they're hearing. Here's what we're hearing. Katrina calls me and says, Dr. T, people are calling and asking, when's the next clinic in the barbershop? When's the next clinic in the salon? I thought that was quite interesting because you can walk into any CVS and get it. They want to come to places they trust.
Right.
So when we hear from Aaron Perry and Waverly Willis and the barbers and stylists out there in our Hollywood squares, we want to hear what it is coming from their chairs.
Right. Well, again, today, we've done it all the time, but today I really want to highlight and to praise the barbers and the stylists. Today, I want to do that. My spirit said, just do that today, because you all are that safe space that we feel comfortable with, and that's why this is so important for what we're doing. Let's go around and let's say hello to our Hollywood Squares panelists. We have at the top, we have Chris Sherlock, who is not Holmes again, but
hey, Mr. Mayor,
but has all of the credentials that Sherlock Holmes has. He does his thing. He goes out and he literally goes from shop to shop, collecting and communicating and doing the groundwork for us. We could not do this without Chris Sherlock. And hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing well and blessed and highly favored as usual, and just glad to make it back here for another week of our session.
Good.
Let me just say this, and as we get on, I want you to tell what you're getting walking door to door, because Chris walks in the places where he's got to be told off for the first 30 minutes. Okay, he's got to take the heat because of the frustration that's out there. I want him to share with us what he's hearing, and then how he comes back, doesn't give up on folk, and makes things happen and gets them into the family. I think that's important. So we want to hear from Chris along those lines as how he's making that happen. Good to see you, brother.
Great to be here as usual. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're our eyes and our ears on the ground as well, Chris, and that's very important. And we have Dr. Carol Ritter. She's a gynecologist, and she is a staple here with us on the Shots at the Shop, and it's always good to see my dear friend, a sister from another mister. Carol Ritter, how you doing?
I'm good. I really enjoy, this is probably the most enlightening thing I do during the week is listening to the stylist stories, because I do get another perspective. But I do want to put some numbers to your Delta story that you were talking, Mayor, because I think a lot of people do not recognize this is a different virus. And we have a lot of language that we have learned through this pandemic, like social distancing and so many new words. And one of the new words was the reproductive number, the R naught. So the R naught is changed from the native variant to the Delta. So the reproductive number R naught for the native virus was 1 to 1, meaning one infected person would infect one other person. And that was enough to create a global pandemic. In order to spread it more, we had what we called, what did we call them? Super spreader events.
That's right.
So we all heard about those super spreader events where, you'd have so many people get infected in a small room. But now the reproductive number for Delta is 1 in about 8, meaning that one infected person will infect 8 people. And it's so infectious that you don't need super spreader events anymore. They can just happen outside, because the 6 feet social distancing was just a number. If you think about somebody smoking 6 feet away from you, if you're downwind, you smell it. Well, that's how the Delta variant can travel even outside. So we're seeing in schools now, like you said, it's just heartbreaking because this is a very different virus. And it's, I see, the sad stories still coming into my practice. And I'm seeing people who said sad, crying that their sister died and that they can't even bury him for 2 months because there's so much backup in the funeral home.
Right.
So it's still a real live experiment that we're in.
Yeah.
And people are not recognizing it because they're tired of hearing about it.
Right.
But
Well, we can't get tired of talking about it. Even if people get tired of hearing about it, we can't get tired of talking about it because it's that important. And we're going to talk about what we're seeing on the ground as well. Dynamite Mike Brown, how you doing, man? Just stop the clippers just
Hey,
1
man,
second and say hello to the folks.
How's everybody doing?
Everybody's great. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well.
Hey,
Trying to stay safe.
Dynamite Brown, I'm going to tell you, I've never seen scissors that big.
Is that right?
Those are some huge scissors.
You have to, you're right.
You got to have some skill with that. And you got to have some trust, a whole lot of trust.
I've never seen scissors that large. What's that Kruger guy what's that?
Oh, Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger.
Oh, that's Edward Scissorhand kind of stuff.
That's
it
what I'm
just
talking
covers
about.
more than hair. That's all.
Yeah. And certainly we have one of our regulars as well, Aaron Perry. Hey, Aaron, how you doing, man?
Actually, I'm doing pretty good. Doing good. Thank you guys, Mayor and Dr. T, for, man, I just love what you guys are doing. And you keep extending that invitation for me to come back. I appreciate it. Obviously, we do a very active Black Men Run group. And so one of our members, unfortunately, his mom 52 years old, did not want to get vaccinated because she said that the Lord was going to take care of her. And she passed away. So tomorrow we're doing a celebration of life for this young man. It's so hard because mom told him that God's going to take care of me. And so for a young man that grew up in church, he was conflicted with that message.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he needed to stay on his mom to help her get vaccinated, but he also was conflicted with that message that, God will take care of you. God will make it right.
Okay.
And so his heart is very heavy. We're going to support him tomorrow. But he actually reached out to me and asked if I could contact public health to see if they can do a vaccine clinic during his mom's celebration of life. He said that he does not want this to happen to anyone else. And so I reached out to public health. And so we got a team of people coming tomor's
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, Aaron.
Wow.
That's powerful, man. Our condolences go out, and we're seeing these stories, Aaron, all over the country. People who were hesitant and they for whatever reason they chose not to get vaccinated and ended up contracting COVID and transitioning passing. And I was talking with some doctors, and they said that the first thing when people get COVID and they're getting ready to be intubated, the first thing they say, can I get the shot now? And that's almost all of them say that. And, but we'll talk about that as well. So our prayers go out, and I think that's a wonderful idea. Is to have people, have it available to people when it's happening, because this does have an emotional connotation as well. When we are seeing people die, and then at that time, maybe we can think about living ourselves. And we have Waverly.
Mr. Mayor, just before you go to Waverly, something Aaron said, he reached back to the health department. It wasn't a cold call. He had a relationship that came out of this shots at the shop. Right. They responded, and now they're going to do a vaccine clinic at a going home ceremony. That is unprecedented, amazing. I didn't want that to be lost. Thank you, Aaron.
You're absolutely right. But that's also a tribute to Aaron and what he's doing out there too, because he's made himself available for that. And like I always say, you make your friends before you need them.
That's right.
And that's what that's about. Waverly Willis, how you doing, my man?
You're muted, brother. Unmute.
Unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm good. How's everybody?
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us what's going on in your world.
Well, we're still rocking and rolling up here. We had our clinic. And,
tell folks where you are. We got new people. Tell them where you are.
Waverly Willis. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. The executive director of the Urban Barber Association and the chairman of the Ohio Barber and Beauty Alliance. And I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. We had our vaccination clinic. And to what you were saying earlier, Dr. Chi, some people have inquired about us doing another one. I got 2 barber shops up here in Cleveland, and we had vaccination clinics in both of them where we did the Pfizer, Moderna, as well as the Johnson & Johnson. And they were very successful. The city of Cleveland's health department partnered up with us with that. They were shocked at the numbers that we did. We did more numbers at some of the larger venues here in Cleveland. So some people have inquired about us having another clinic with this variant on the rise. And so I have reached out to the Department of Health here, and so we'll see.
That's great.
That's fabulous. And so this concept is constantly developing, and we're staying there. The other thing is too, we don't need to just, say when COVID is no longer an issue, we're going to go away. We need to institutionalize what we're doing for sustainability purposes, so we can deal with those other issues as well, right? We're creating the infrastructure for that. That's important. We also have Veronica Pugin, who is with the SBA. She's going to be joining with us as well. And when she comes in, we'll bring her in the conversation. This is a conversation that we have, but we want to start out by finding out how you're feeling. Dr. T, do the assessment.
So let me just say this. It takes time to get on the radar screen and get some traction, and that's happening. And when Veronica comes in, it was the SBA that reached out to us here in Maryland. We had the Maryland State Office of the Comptroller. Why would the Comptroller be interested? We did a podcast with them. So it's catching on. And these new audiences, they're like amazed. It's like, oh, I never thought of that. How could it be? As long as Black barbershops and salons have been around, we encounter people who see it for the first time. That simply tells you how both divided we are and what this opportunity is moving forward. Hey, Veronica, you want to say hello before we do our word cloud?
Sure, yeah, I can do a quick introduction and unfortunately can only stay for a bit more with this group, but glad to join the conversation. Just as a quick introduction, my name is Veronica Pugin. I'm Senior Advisor at the Office of Capital Access at the SBA. And just want to share with this group that the COVID EIDL Small Business Loan Program is still open and available. And so a lot of the comments have been shared throughout this conversation thus far of the challenges and the uncertainty with Delta presented to our country and our economy. A lot of small businesses and who are still seeking support to weather this time can access the COVID EIDL Small Business Loan, which is a borrower-friendly loan that is 3.75% interest, a repayment period of 30 years that can be deferred. And just you can access that. Oh, perfect. Thank you. At sba.gov/EIDL. The website address there is where you could access it, and you can apply online directly via that website. You do not need to have another financial institution. The SBA is the lender here. So you go to that website, you click the apply, you make sure you meet the eligibility requirements, which are posted online. And I say you make sure that just so that you make sure it's a good use of your time, right? And you can get those funds directly via the SBA. The loan, again, 3.75% interest over a 30-year time frame. You can defer the repayment. And some points that were mentioned at the start of this conversation were the needs that small business have to weather this time. These loan funds can be used on any normal operating expenses and working capital.
Including rent?
Have flexibility. What's that?
Including lease, rent?
Yes, great question. Yes, you can use this on rent. We know a lot of small businesses have maybe deferred rent that's been accumulating over this time. You can use these loan funds to wipe out that rent. You could use these loan funds on hiring anyone if you need an extra employee to support you. You can use these loan funds making payments on debt, on commercial debt you have. We know a lot of small businesses were put in a position to take out debt that oftentimes not very favorable terms to you. You can use these funds that are just 3.75% over 30 years, and you can defer this payment for as well. And the average time to obtain this loan is several weeks. I'm assuming that you provide the documentation the SBA asks for. And so what I tell small businesses who want these funds as quickly as possible is, get online, apply, and when the SBA asks for a document or a step, the sooner you do that, the sooner your application can go through the process quickly. And so that's the final point I'll end on for this program is, I know a lot of people ask, oh, is this like PPP? Is this like the Restaurant Revitalization Fund? And the way this is different is it is a loan. Repayment is required. It's not forgivable the way PPP was. But with that comes two things. One, there's more flexibility on how you can use this. So you can use this on rent, as was asked. You can use this on any normal operating expenses. And when you do have to repay it, so you can defer it, but when you do, because it's stretched over 30 years, that monthly repayment burden is much lower than other market options. So for example, a $10,000 COVID EIDL loan, depending on deferment, would on average be it would be less than $50 a month. of
Can it
repayment.
be used on an existing SBA loan?
It could not right now, but there have been conversations around how these uses can be, you know, if that would be something to reevaluate. So what I can do, and we're approving the program each day. So what I can do is, you know, whoever has, you know, in this group, I know some of the leaders who bring this group together, I can send materials and information, the most up-to-date materials and information. So you all have that and can access that going forward.
Hey, you know, Veronica, I want to, number one, thank you so much for being here because in my interactions with barbers and stylists, many of them have, you know, predatory landlords. I mean, like real predatory, where they get into a strip mall, a rundown piece of property. They improve it. They improve it, make it good, and all of a sudden they come in and want to hike up the rent. I mean, very, very predatory. And so you've given a lot of flexibility here. That percent is amazing, over 30 years. So what we would like to ask is this. We've heard about, it sounds so easy, right? Just go online. What we've learned firsthand, and we've all seen in real time, going online is not the same for everybody. So I would like you to be willing to come back. We're here every Thursday, and we do things during the week to do a little mini workshop so we could answer their questions as they come in. We could literally do it online with one of them. So
Is there a cap on the loan?
You could see what the end user is experiencing. And so the question is there a cap? What's the maximum?
Yeah, currently, as of today, the cap is $500,000.
Okay, $500,000.
And yes, to the question, yes, you're right and spot on. That online experience we see really varies depending on kind of the resources and the familiarity people have. So we can definitely come back and walk through that in the future, number one. And number two, next week, we'll also be uploading to the website, to that link that was shared, sba.gov/EIDL, application walkthrough support materials, because we know that really varies. So that'll be on the website. You can access that. And yes, we can walk through, you know, step by step through those materials to kind of make that a smoother process.
I'll put this up one more time.
I know you said this, Veronica, but I want to make sure that I heard you. So I'm assuming that if someone got the PPP loan, they are still eligible for this loan, because this is a different, that was not a loan, that was basically a grant, the PPP, right? So they are eligible even if they receive monies from the PPP. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct, they are. And actually, yes, if you receive PPP or you receive, well, I guess this group wouldn't have gotten the restaurant revitalization fund given different type of business, but PPP, you are eligible. And related to the point on the application process, we can and we'll still walk through that. But if someone went through the PPP application process, the COVID EIDL application process will be much smoother because you've already done the legwork of gathering the documents and information. So that's something to know if that's someone's experience. What's that?
I just said I put this up again just so people could see the SBA.gov. And Meg, if you'll make sure if you can get that down and put it into the chat, just make sure the link works. And we'll send it out post this event to everybody registered. We're going to make this work, and we're going to monitor it too. I think that's important, Omar. We monitor what our barbers and stylists experience when they do this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any minimum, Veronica, in terms of the length of time you're in business before you qualify?
Yeah, so that's some of the eligibility on the website that it is. Again, good to highlight that you need, for this program, need to have been in business since January 2020. So this is not a startup fund. For new businesses, SBA has resources at sba.gov, just this program specifically, that if you're in business since January 2020, there is a credit score requirement as well. A minimum credit score requirement per Experian of 570. So that's something I also just like to get out in front of people to, again, share this to make the best use of everyone's time. And you need to, one thing actually to really highlight for this group, in terms of number of employees, it cannot be a business of more than 500 employees. That includes sole proprietorships, self-employed, one-person small businesses, more than welcome to apply for this. So that's, barbershops, salons, all those who have one employee, the owner, if you're a CEO, owner, employee, everything, you qualify for this, and then all the way up to 500 employees.
So not a whole lot of people going to exceed 500 in the barbershop. So Veronica, I think we're pretty clear on that.
Yes. No, I know for this group, I just get this question. I've unfortunately, encountered individuals who think if they're a self-employed business, they don't qualify for this. And you're an employee of a business of one, and that meets the criteria. So just want to make sure people don't feel discouraged. I do have to attend a meeting, but I'm glad I could share this information. I'll share the written materials, and we can do another time of kind of walking through the details of the application.
Thanks so much, Veronica, for coming and sharing with us. We do appreciate that.
Let's give her some
Thank
snaps.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Veronica. We appreciate you. All right.
Thank you.
And we will invite you back soon. Okay.
Indeed. Just before you
Absolutely.
leave, Veronica, what we do next is we ask everybody in the Hollywood Squares and everybody out in cyberspace listening to think about what word best describes how they're feeling at this moment in the pandemic, and to put that word in the chat. Don't hit return. Just put as many words. We're going to do a countdown, and then we'll all hit return together. And for those of you, Katrina, Tuck, you keep driving. You be safe now. We'll hear your word and add it for you. But before you leave, Veronica, join us with this. Everybody, type in the word, just separated by a comma. It could be as many words, but just one word at a time, about how you're feeling right now. And on 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit return. And we have that word cloud waterfall. And we have some of our team behind the scenes that's going to build that word cloud for us. And when it's ready, we'll bring it up. Thank you so much. Some more snaps for Veronica. All
Absolutely.
right. People
Veronica
are watching, folks.
Hogan,
People know we
from
exist.
the SBA. It's good to have you with us. That was great. That was fabulous. Hey, for those of you who would benefit from that, obviously you've gotten it direct. And of course, if you need some additional information, you can also contact us and we can make sure that you get connected with the SBA. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to go through your banks as you would normally do,
Right.
but you can go directly to the SBA, directly to them, and that's important. Let me kind of engage now in this notion of how do we get past this hump. It's like people get weary and well doing, Dr. T. They're frustrated. The medical industry is frustrated because they're seeing people come in that's clogging up the system. There are people who are saying that they can't get, surgeries done because COVID has kind of inundated our healthcare system. We have people who have occupied the ICU beds who are unvaccinated, when people who are vaccinated who have other issues cannot access those beds. And it becomes a frustration. And so the question has to be, how do we talk to people at this level? Because COVID is, as Dr. Ritter said, Delta is different from the original COVID. Shouldn't we elevate our language, not being insensitive or not being empathetic, but let people know the sense of urgency that we have now based on what's happening. Right now in Alabama, there are 0 ICU beds, 0. So if you have a car accident, you out of luck. You see what I'm saying? So we need to do something. And we have our star just came on, Dr. Tuesday Cook. And how you doing, Dr. Cook? Good. She gives me. I'm doing well, thank you.
And Dr. Cook, you can put your word in the chat. They're building the cloud right now.
Perfect. I'll put it right on in.
Good. I want Aaron, how do you maintain, because you just talked about something in Dynamite Mike had a situation that's very similar to that. How do you, because you don't want to say or be insensitive and say, I've been trying to talk to you, I've been trying to tell you. How do you maintain, your patience during this time? And have we been too patient with people?
Yeah, one of the things that I fall back on is just this thought of people who live in oppressed conditions have to change their lives to live in oppressed conditions. And if you think about that, this is why, you hear a lot of people relying on God. God's going to make it better for me. And so when you start from that point and you start connecting with people from that point, people get the feeling that, okay, he kind of understands my struggles, my challenges. And that's what we've been trying to do. The other thing that I've been sharing with people is, let's not look back and assess blame. Let's move forward. Let's move forward, make a better life for ourselves, because what I found is that so many people are looking back, the Tuskegee study and all this. And I say, okay, let's not look back and assess blame. Let's focus on moving forward and tomorrow. And believe it or not, that's starting to resonate. And the last thing I wanted to make sure I put this out there, 3 barbershops that have participated in this shots at the shop, 3 of them are now the owners are getting trained to be COVID testers now. And not only that, they're encouraging their staff to also take the training. And so when someone comes in to get their haircut, the public health is providing the testing kits. They can actually test people sitting in the chair.
Amazing.
It is. I mean, this is all a result of this panel right here. And so in addition to that, the public health is going to give them $20 per test that they do. And this is, we're talking about looking at how public health is starting to align themselves and utilize the barbershops in a way that they have never done. But I knew I wanted to share that because I think it's just cutting edge.
Is that nationwide?
I know it's in Madison.
Well, what we want to do is, we are connected with the White House. Let's propose that happens. We can literally propose that, right?
Right.
Let's do that. Dynamite Mike, you were telling us about a case very similar to that, where a mother passed. Tell that story again.
It was his brother. His brother had his brother contracted. They didn't know if it was Delta or the COVID, but it was one of them, and they were against the vaccine. And his brother caught it, and he said when he went to the hospital, his father was there, and his father came out the room. They wouldn't let nobody else in. They said there was about 15 doctors in there, and he just broke down to crying. And he was, it was very sad to, I didn't want to be the one to say, I told you so. So, all I could do was, console him, tell him, and keep him in prayer and pray for the brother. So he hasn't come back in yet. He should be coming tomorrow. And I'll test him to see how he's feeling, to take his position on whether he's want to be vaccinated or not. And that's how I'm gonna deal with that. So I'm gonna just keep him and his family in prayer.
I get this notion that it's almost like religion, that you want to say whoever will, let them come. But in a pandemic, we have to be more overt in terms of our appeal to people, because their lack of getting vaccinated can have an adverse effect on me.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's different than even religion. Right. Dr. Cook, how do we get people to understand that the more opportunities that we give this virus to mutate and create a different variant, it can literally create a variant that can elude our current protection.
You know, Mayor, I think that is the million-dollar question. You know, we must continue our efforts. You know, sometimes it seems like it's overwhelming, to be honest, just as a person that speaks to other people, not even as a physician, you know, who comes from a place of being read and expertise and taking care of COVID patients, some of who end up dying, but just talking regular sense. Sometimes it, you know, it can make you feel like, how and why am I doing this? Nobody is listening to me. But I think we must be steadfast in our goal and constantly speaking to people, because what I've realized is even the ones who say that they're hesitant, at some point might circle back to you and say, you know, my friends are gone, but can you tell me again what you were talking about, Dr. Cook? You know, well, where can I get that? What did you read? Oh, well, can you send me somewhere to, where can I go? And so that's when it feels like it may be worthwhile, because you feel like you're speaking to a brick wall. But when a few bricks fall off that wall,
Hell no wall.
a few of them fall off that wall and come back and say, hey, you know, I heard what you said. Can you help me? Then you can. So I think we just have to keep going. We have to keep pushing and to keep explaining in ways that people understand. You know, I think that it's out there, but we have to make sure we explain it so people understand and they feel comfortable coming back to you to ask you again.
You know, one thing I want to ask both you, Dr. Cook and Dr. Ritter. Dr. Ritter, unmute. How is it that a person says that, you know, I don't trust a vaccine that the world greatest minds worked on, that they say is the most effective, safe vaccine that's ever been manufactured and created, right? But they will take horse and cow deworming medicine. Help me just that, because in the state of Alabama, the feed stores cannot keep horse deworming medication. They can't keep it on the shelves. So the horses and the cows and stuff, they in trouble because they can't get dewormed, right? So I mean, you know, but you don't want to take with all of the top minds in the world put this together. Over 200 million people have been vaccinated with no significant backlash, right?
No deaths, no deaths.
But you want to take horse deworming medication to prevent the Delta variant. And the first thing, and also whenever you get in there, you don't care what they give you once you are in the hospital. You don't care what they are doing to try to, whatever therapeutics they're using, right? To try to save you. You don't care what that is after you are in that situation. Help me out, Dr. Ritter. I want you, and then I want to come back to you, Dr. Cook. I want y'all to help me out here. You all are physicians.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And I do think I learned from this group of stylists and barbers too, that you have to meet the person where they are on that, because some of them, you know, just have information from the wrong sources. Others are, you know, very, very healthy and they live a healthy lifestyle. And others of them are smoking cigarettes, you know, or, you know, have A1Cs, you know, above 9. So they have to kind of normalize it to something that they understand and see the hypocrisy in what they're saying without us overtly telling them that it's a hypocrisy what they're talking about. But the other thing that the funeral directors have really taught me too is to, like, okay, if this is what you want to do, you know, the inevitable outcome is you're going to get COVID. So get your house in order if this is what you want to do. And I have actually been talking to them about advanced directives, which is something they can do online. And that's what I learned on here too. I mean, you just have to talk logic at their level.
Let me just say that,
Some
and
people have no
Aaron,
logic.
Aaron, it was your story when you talked to the brother. You literally said, I love you. Do you have burial insurance? And that was 3-4 sessions ago.
Right.
And I've told that story, and you see how Dr. Ritter's picked up on it. It does work. It focuses a person. They say, I never thought of it that way. And that's what we have to have people. Oh, I never thought of it that way. That means they're thinking.
Yes.
And if they're thinking, as Omar says, people will naturally gravitate to saving their own lives if they have the right information.
Mhm.
Dr. Cook, I want to come back to you, and then I'm gonna go around because I need to engage some more people, because I know it's got to be frustrating for people in the healthcare industry. It's got to be frustrating to say, here we go again, right? I mean, so talk to us about that.
You know, the most, so what I want to start out by saying is one of my favorite phrases is, a mind convinced against its will is of the same opinion still. You know, my grandmother used to tell me that.
Slow down now. That's good.
Don't go. Don't. You know, when you come up with stuff like that, you know, you can't go too fast. You know, I'm gonna stop you, right? And go back. Say that
Break it on
again
down.
slowly.
All right, so my
because
grandmother.
that is wonderful. That's a wonderful saying. Go and say it again, Doctor.
Well, it's not mine. It's my grandmother saying. I'm sure she got it from somewhere.
Your grandmama was smart anyway. You know, that's you know. So go ahead with that.
So what she would say is, a mind convinced against its will is of the same opinion still. All right. So, you know, we can talk people and talk people and talk people and think that we could talk them into stuff, but we cannot. So that's where that steadfast, just, you know, on their level, supplying resources. But, you know, we can't convince somebody that is completely convinced. But what we can do, I think, is what Dr. Ritter said and what all the stylists and barbers say, you know, provide them with information, lead them to someone they trust. And the lucky thing is, and this is where I feel good about it, the lucky thing is, you know, a good bit of patients can trust me. And so that's where I have my in. You know, one of the reasons that many people don't want to get vaccinated is because they don't trust doctors. Or they don't trust the healthcare experts. Yeah, they're experts. But, you know, healthcare experts also said that the face of our skulls and our shapes made us less than human. Experts also said that Caucasians were beautiful because that kind of skull came from the base of the Caucasus Mountains. You know, those were experts too, right? In the JAMA, in the JAMA issue in June, I want to say, you know, where it said that racism is not a real thing, those were experts. So when they don't trust experts, we kind of have to understand why they don't trust experts, right? So we can't convince them, but what we can do is engender trust. Make sure we take care of all aspects of them and say that this is one way of taking care of them. I'm done with trying to convince people. I'm done. I'm going to give you the information. And it's the same thing. I can't convince you that obesity is going to make, you know, you die earlier and your type 2 blood pressure be out of whack. You know, and I'm not going to convince you, but what I will do is give you information. I'm going to give you information. I'm going to let you stew on it. And when you tip your ear towards me and want to just come back and have a quick call, we can do that. But it's beyond that. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating only because we're seeing people die that don't have to die. That's the scary part. You're dying by not taking something that if you were little and going to school, you would have had to take to get into school anyway, right? You're dying, and it's free. And it's free. Now, healthcare access, health equity. I mean, let's keep it real. What CVS you know is in the hood? Not my hood. There's no CVS in my hood, right? But there are now. You know, now we're trying to get things out. We're trying to increase access, and you're still not going to take it. And trust me, it's not just us.
Right.
I'm not just speaking to us. My concern is us. Like Issa Rae, my concern is us, but it's not just us not taking it, but it's us that I want to have all the information we possibly can so that we can move forward and we can not die at increased rates, because we always are disproportionately adversely affected.
You know, Chris, Chris and Aaron, I want you all to unmute because I want to talk a little bit about, you know, the disinformation seems to be winning out. right? That the people, and I don't know what percentage they are, but they seem to be more influential. You know, I watched Fox News, and I don't even like to call things, but I can call it because I'm tired of not being transparent like that, right? And they're still telling people not to get vaccinated.
Unbelievable.
Although every one of them are vaccinated.
Yep.
Right? But as a requirement of their employment, right? But they're on the television right now telling people not to get vaccinated. Don't trust the vaccine, right? I think that kind of hypocrisy has to be exposed when you have politicians who are senators and congressmen and governors who've been vaccinated 3 times, but tell people that, you know, not to wear masks or, you know, all of the hypocrisy has to be exposed. You know, Chris, I know you out there dealing with people. Am I wrong for saying that?
Not at all. Not at all. Not only do I feel it needs to be exposed, but possibly some criminal charges brought on some of these people. I mean, it's just as reckless as a couple of sessions ago, someone brought up knowingly having HIV and encountering partners knowingly that they have that. It's just as reckless as that. It really just appalls me at the amount of people who are still trying to sway people into, okay, we get it that you may not value your life or appreciate your life, but let that be your thing. Don't affect or don't take away or saturate others people's opportunity to thrive in life because of an opinion. You know, and I'm not a Google person. I like Yahoo. I know it's a little off topic, but I like Yahoo because you can open up Yahoo and slide left or slide right and get different headlines. And probably for like the last month, a month and a half, 2 months, it's been all COVID-19 vaccinations. But here's the thing. Within the last 2 weeks, I've noticed an increase, an influx in police officer deaths, young police officer deaths, or first responders. I cannot imagine or fathom being out there helping someone and not being vaccinated. I get it. You have underlying health issues for some, for some of those individuals, but for those that don't have any excuse, it's just reckless. It's completely reckless, and it's something that could be prevented. It's sad.
You know, Aaron, you know, you out there doing some great work, man. And you and Waverly, man, I just so admire you all. You know, and you and Mike, man, I just admire you all so much. And I tell you this publicly because I want people to know how much I admire you. Does it frustrate you that people negate what you're doing by telling people what you know is wrong when you're trying to save lives and they're negating it by giving disinformation?
Can I say something to that?
Yeah.
I had a customer today, love him to death. He's against the vaccine. We go at it all the time. Today, I thought I had a breakthrough. And at the end of the conversation, he says, now I'm asking you this, Dr. Tuesday Cook, this one. He says, if I take the vaccine, will it stop me from transmitting? Will it stop me from catching it? Will it prevent me from spreading it to my family? And all of those answers are no. So why should I take it?
So I think those are good questions he has. And those are questions he should ask. If he's interested in getting any kind of medication or anything done to him, those are great questions. All of the answers to those are no, but they're not an absolute no. You have to look at things in grades. So if I get the COVID-19 vaccine, can I still get COVID-19? Yes, you can. But will you die from COVID-19? There's your hard no.
I told him that.
There's your hard no.
He says people have died who has taken it.
Who have gotten immunized and gotten some kind of variant. And guess what? Guess where they got that variant? Likely from someone who was unvaccinated. And that's not the norm. Those cases are rare, and there are pictographs that you can even pull up online, Yahoo or Google. You can pull up a pictograph and it will show the percentage of people who die who are vaccinated versus unvaccinated. That percentage is, the difference between those is vast. So you can just see it with a picture. You don't have to go many words. Let me show you who's dying versus who's not dying between vaccinated and unvaccinated. The small amount of people that are passing away, well, who knows what their underlying conditions are, et cetera, it's minuscule. And it shows you per state. And I can send you that probably in a link or something.
I want you to send that to me as well.
I'll send you that infographic. Yeah, I'll send you that infograph.
We'll
And,
get that on
and the thing is, again, is he likely to he could get it? It's a 4.5% chance that he could get it and have some symptoms, but his symptoms will be mild. He's less likely to be a carrier to his family, right? He's less likely to have the ill effects of it. So, it's not just a no, hard no. We got to look at grades.
Right.
Okay.
You know what's interesting? I'm a former police officer, so I wore a bulletproof vest. Well, the bulletproof vest covered me from here to here. So if somebody shot me in the head, it wouldn't protect me, right? But I wore my bulletproof vest. You got it. you see what I'm saying? And I think we need to be able to be rational about that. Nothing is 100%. We don't know what can happen. We are trying to do a cost-benefit analysis. This gives me a better chance to live, right? And what we've seen, there is a no-brainer in terms of vaccinated and unvaccinated people. If you look at the people who are in the ICU beds, the people who are intubated today, 90+% of them are unvaccinated. They even go so far as to say 99% of them. I've heard numbers like that of people who are fighting for their lives today are unvaccinated. So whether you want to be on that side, on the vaccinated side, where maybe you may contract COVID, but you live through it. That's the key. And so, I think we need to be clear on how we frame the issue, because a lot of it don't make a lot of sense to me. Aaron, I started out by talking to you because you're where the rubber meets the road, man. You're there trying to provide, vaccines for people, there to facilitate the process to get communities vaccinated and safeguard against this virus. But when you hear what I was talking about, of people deliberately giving disinformation, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, of course it angers you because it's political, it's a hustle. And sadly, the hustle is working. And it's just hard to see this play out over and over again. But again, I just keep coming right back to, as Dr. T said, I love you too much not to have this conversation, and I moved away from, because I was pissing a lot of people off talking about the burial insurance. So I kind of shifted that a little bit to, can I help you develop a backup plan should something go wrong? Because you look in this medicine cabinet, and I was over at one of my friend's house, he got zinc, he got cinnamon, and I said, brother, you taking all of these, supplements, but you're refusing to get vaccinated, and you start hitting people with that harsh reality, and then just kind of take a step back. And again, just repeat, I love you too much not to have this conversation with you, but can I help you develop a backup plan should something go wrong? It is highly likely that if you do not get vaccinated, something could go wrong.
Yeah, I want to know how people are thinking now. If we could pull up the word cloud, I want to kind of see how we what are our collective feelings like. If we could pull up the word cloud, let me see what we're looking like. Look at what's happening. Confidence, blessed, encouraged is the winner of the day. Informed, highly favored, worried, educated, hopeful, focused, challenged, cautious, uncertain, tired, motivated, anxious, overloaded, informed are the words that seem to resonate now. But if you notice in the middle, Dr. T, what's the largest word?
Encourage.
Encouraged. Meaning that we are encouraged, that there is something that is motivating us to believe that no matter what we are seeing today, that there is something greater down the road, right? That we are sacrificing good things now for greater things later, right? That we're encouraged to believe that this too shall pass, right? That's what's so critically important. Let me go to. I want to. If Waverly come back, I really want to see if he can come back at some point. If not, we can bring other folk on. But what I want to do is I want to talk.
Oh wait. Yeah, if you put your camera, you got to put your camera on so we can spotlight you.
Yeah, Waverly, we need you, man.
There you go.
Yeah, hey, you gonna go change clothes on me, and what's with you? I mean, you ain't Superman. Went into the booth and changed clothes on me.
I just got home from work. I had to get out that suit.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool. Waverly, they have a thing in church say, don't get weary in well doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because in due season, you will reap if you faint not. Mm-hmm. Right. And part of what gives that encouragement, man, is the fact that you're not in this by yourself. There's a saying that said the battle was not yours. Right. It's the Lord. Right. And when you take on the battle yourself, when you think that you are it, then you lose focus on what the bigger picture is, that you're an instrument, right? To be used to do some good for the greater good, right?
Right.
How do you keep that focus in the midst of the frustration of dealing with people who are anti what you're doing?
Well, Mayor, that's a very good question, and I'm happy you asked it. As I was listening to the conversation that's going on, I was thinking about after we did our vaccines at my barbershops, and I did get discouraged a little bit afterwards, and I'm gonna tell you why. I don't know if it's any other barbers or stylists on here that have had the vaccine at their shops or not, but you would not believe the hate mail that I got, the hate emails that I got, people literally calling me and texting me on my personal cell phone, telling me that I was poisoning the community, and a bunch of other expletives that I'm not going to say. And it did make me discouraged. It made me, honestly, it scared me a little bit, to know that I knew that I was out in the public. The news had broadcasted. We got picked up on NPR on a national level. And so in my heart, I'm knowing the good thing. And just like you said earlier, the people that are spreading the propaganda on not getting the vaccine, Tucker, Hannity, and all of the above on Fox News, all of these people are vaccinated. And coming out the gate, initially, I was going back and forth with these people. But like the doctor earlier said, as far as those people, I have the same viewpoint. I'm over it. You can have your opinion. I have my opinion. They're coming at me with experts that's refuting the facts about the vaccine. But just like the doctor said, though, you got your experts. I got my experts. I choose to believe my experts, and I know that in my heart of hearts that I've been doing the right thing. But for the record, just as many people that sent me the hate mail, the hate emails, and the phone calls, I probably got twice or three times as many people that gave me the attaboy. We appreciate what you're doing for your community. So that has kept me going.
Yeah, people often talk about, we have different,
same here.
Opinions, but let me tell you, we are all entitled to our own opinions, but we're not entitled to our own facts.
Right.
And one of the things that we can do, and you don't have to be an expert, that's why I have people like Dr. Cook and Dr. Ritter on, because I'm not a physician. I don't even try to be, right? I trust them, right? Establish a relationship with them. They tell me what they know from their angle. But this is what I do know. I do know that the hospitals are no longer available to take patients because they have been filled for months, right? I do know that I have friends who had to have elective surgeries that have been put off for months because they say they cannot take them, right? I do know people who have gone and contracted COVID and come back and given it to their mother, and she died. One person in my family. So there's some things that I do know, and those are facts. Those are not disputable. I don't have to argue with you over what it is that I know and that I see. And I think we need to be very clear about what the facts are and not argue those nuances that they like to argue. What about the whataboutism, right? Dr. Cook was great the way that she put it. Yeah, yes, that's true, but that's not the end of the story. The fact of the matter is, yes, you may get COVID, but you won't die. That's the difference. And that's pretty important, I think.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to say to Waverly and to all the barbers and stylists, it takes courage. It really actually takes courage. And when they came after even me, I get some of that too. That's when I knew, Waverly, we were onto something. They know this could work. They showed up on Mike's job. They showed up in his shop. Mike?
Yeah. The lady came in. I think they were the Israelites. They hang out at the subway stations and they got the big bull horns and they yelling, Jesus is this and that, and you need to do this and that. And they saw us on the news and she recognized my face and she came right up here in the barbershop in front of everybody. And you're contaminating, you're poisoning the people. Jesus wouldn't want you to do that. And I was like, well, where are you getting your facts from? And she went in her pocket and pulled out this piece of paper. She said, here, Google this. I was like, first, the writing needs to be legible first. so, I mean, the fact that she came off the street and attacked me at my job, I was like, wow, this is really big. We're on to something here.
Right.
We suffer persecution.
Right.
On a Friday, the place is packed and busy. They turned down the music just to see what she was going to do. It's kind of frightening when somebody comes in on you like that, right off the street.
Yeah.
So I say it takes courage. I want to just say to all of you, you have to be courageous. And because this can work, it's why they don't want it to work. Hang in there, but let us know these stories. Waverly, that's the first time I heard that, brother. And I know that can be debilitating. And we need you to be able to come into a space like this and have support. But that was, that's going to come with the territory.
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel like you're Noah. You're over there building an ark in the desert. It doesn't even rain, and people looking at you like you're crazy until that last board is sealed, and then it starts to flood. So I'm like Noah out here.
Well, let me tell you, Waverly, I'm not near to you, I don't think. But Mike, I'm right up the street, so you let them know you have a surgeon that knows where to cut them, and I am not scared of the cops. I know where to cut.
Let me say a couple of things.
Don't let the MD fool you. Tell her I said that.
I believe it. I will.
The other thing is too. Let me be clear.
Sounds like I'm back in Chicago.
This is one thing. This is one thing that I know. If you're not a threat, no one's going to ever approach you. You got it. When I used to play basketball, I was a point guard for the team. And we would have our team practice and we would research and watch film on the other team. And we knew who the scorers were. And we knew the people who were not the scorers. So Our coach told us not to check the people who couldn't score. We called them self-check. You got it? We would double team the scores.
Yeah.
And so when if nobody comes after you, they have concluded that you can't score.
That's right.
Right.
So Waverly, when they came after you, they knew you were a star.
That's right.
Right? Understand that, right? They've done the background on you. They've looked at the tape, and they say when he gets in the game, if we don't check him, he's gonna score, right? And he's gonna win the game. That's when you become confident that you are doing something right when people attack you.
Now,
right?
Mr. Mayor, I've known Waverly back in the early days when all this was in the margins, and he formed an organization of barbers and stylists, his tuba, and he's been there for a long time. Why attack him now? Because he's now part of a much bigger thing than just himself. And it's got the backing in a way that brings national visibility. So I just want to thank you, Waverly, for hanging in there. And it's going to get better because we're going to get bigger. And you saw different government agencies coming to us. We didn't call the SBA. They called us because you guys are here. All right.
You know you're not in this by yourself, Waverly. You know that, brother. We all got your back. Dr. Tuesday Cook says she know how to. She got your back, right? You smile. That's what. Look at that smile. That's what I like. That's it. Right? Right? That's what this is about. I've been on radio for 30 years. I ain't studying folk.
Omar,
I don't care what you say.
Omar, you got Andre down there in Atlanta, got the folk ready to bring vaccine into the airport.
Right.
All behind all this momentum we've built.
Right.
And then yesterday, somebody sends me something from the American Public Health Association that highlights you barbers and stylists, and I had never seen it before. So people are producing new materials completely separate from us, highlighting what you do. And if we get a moment, Omar, I'd like to show them the new piece that's out.
Well, let's go on and do that. I'm going to pause right now, call a timeout, and throw the ball to you, Dr. T.
Now you keep talking.
I'm going to cross my fingers because I know that's what you're about to say, because you and technology have never been friends.
Well, every now and then it works. Okay, did you see that full screen? Is it all black?
Full screen.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Italo Brown. I'm an emergency physician and assistant professor in social emergency medicine and chief impact officer of TRAP medicine.
And I'm Dr. Cedric Rutland. I'm a pulmonary and critical care physician in Southern California, a national spokesperson for the American Lung Association, and I'm an assistant clinical professor of internal medicine.
We're headed to a place that's not only integral to our communities,
but our entire souls.
The barbershop. This is barbershop medicine.
Hey.
The barbershop has been a staple and sanctuary amongst our community for decades.
Now, traditionally, barbershops were where people went for medical procedures and services.
Continuing that tradition, we travel across the country to discuss health and wellness in barbershops.
And today, we're gonna check out Jamie's barber right here in LA.
Danny.
Oh.
It's close. Let me make a call.
This is what I'm talking about. COVID-19 has affected the way that we live in every way possible. Right here in LA, there have been over 1.2 million cases, and 23,000 of them have been fatal.
Where?
That's why we ask people to practice these precautions.
Yeah, we on the way. Hey, he's down the street, he's outside. He's got.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we got
Let's hit it.
Let's go. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's happening, man? Good, bro. What's good? Hey, how y'all brothers doing?
All right.
I'm across from you. What's happening, bro?
How y'all doing?
I'm good, man.
Thanks.
We got to make a point.
Well, fellas, as y'all know,
the shop's closed due to COVID, but we all know that a barbershop's much more than a place you come just to get a cut. It's a place where we come to fellowship, talk about our personal and social issues. So I decided we can do that anywhere. So we brought the shop outside. I brought some real medical experts out here, and we're gonna talk about why COVID's been hitting the Black and brown community so hard.
Oh, yeah. I came to the barbershop on the right day.
I know, man.
Yeah,
you did.
We sure have a whole lot of backyard conversation.
Most people want to get a haircut when things aren't going right.
Yeah.
And so not being able to do that has changed so many people's lives. I know in our communities, like, this is our country club. This is our safe space. We talk about when the Jays come out. We talk about where to take our girls for dinner. We talk about, you know, how we're gonna name our children, but we never have conversations about our own health, both mental and physical well-being.
And I'm just one of the ones to believe that stress kills at the end of the day.
You're 100% right.
So now, knowing that people of color, they usually in a stressful situation.
You hit that on the head, brother. That's exactly right.
Come on,
So,
Keep going.
come on.
Keep going.
So knowing that they're in a stressful situation, because, you know, not to talk about it, I'm not prejudiced or nothing like that, but, you know, usually people with financially all right, they breathe in fresher air.
Right.
They go into the doctor on a regular basis. We don't go to the doctor until we just hurting and about to fall out and ain't got no choice.
Wow.
Okay, wanted to give you a little bit of the
That's
flavor.
powerful. I like that.
Can you
That's
believe they produced that? We just got it, highlighting the work you folks are doing. We'll put the link in the chat. We'll send it on the shops and the shop listserv. Show it. We want to show these in the barbershops themselves. Let's give the American Public Health Association some snaps.
absolutely. Hey, Mike, wouldn't it be wonderful to take it out to the parking lot one day and
On a good weather day, yes.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean to go out and just hang out in the atmosphere. You know, that's cool.
Now, Mr. Mayor, if we get some resources when the time comes, I'm encouraged. My point is, there's no reason we cannot produce similar kinds of things, similar kinds of video clips, similar kinds of little documentary YouTube stories, right from the talent we have about your stories, about your courage in the shops. That's what we want to get to lift up your stories and your voices.
Right. And that's one of the things that we are doing, because it's those stories. I think that we have to move past just, you know, talking about the, you know, the technical stuff. Let's get to real human stories, right? Let's talk about, that's why when you know, Mike and Aaron and Waverly, when they talk about what's happening on the streets and as well as you know, Chris, you know, when you talk about things on the street, I think that's what makes the difference. I think that's what's going to push the needle further over, right? Is when we start really talking human to human, not academic, not being paternalistic, you know, not being so academic, right? And I know Dr. T gets tired of me saying, man, we can't be academic in talking to people. I don't care if they got, you know, PhD or no D, right? They need to be talked to as a human being, as a person, right? We need to reach them from the heart, because what comes from the heart touches the heart. And that's what we got to do. That's where I believe we got to go. We don't have a lot of time. That's another thing too. We have over 80 million people in this country that are still unvaccinated. That gives the virus a lot of room to go. And what it's doing is seeking those individuals. Think about it. 12 and under cannot get vaccinated. So we need to protect that population. And the best way to protect that population is that everybody who can get vaccinated. And I think that may be an angle, Dr. T, that we need to look at. If you don't do it for you, do it for your children.
That's right.
Right? Give you a case in point. A Macon, Georgia, in Macon, Georgia, school opened. And in a 3-week period, they had over 700 children that had COVID. 700 in a 3-week period. And then I said, you know, I was telling some people in Florida about that, and they said, oh, that's nothing. We had 1,500 in our county. in the first couple of weeks. I'm talking to my superintendent here in Tuskegee. She's talking about the number of students and faculty that's now got COVID, to the point that they may even have to shut down, right? So, you know, I think that we need to rethink how we are dealing with this, because it is much worse than I think we are telling people. We need to tell people the truth about what's happening. We need to tell them how vulnerable they are. Dr. Ritter, you were correct when you talked about the transmissibility of COVID. If one person can infect 8 to 10 people easily. In fact, that's the average. So if you look at that exponentially,
yep,
you know, one person can infect hundreds and thousands of people as it goes further down the line. And then we look at those vulnerable populations of unvaccinated people who drank the Kool-Aid of you know, for whatever reason, whether it was religion or politics or whatever, not to get vaccinated, then those people are the most vulnerable. And we need to protect them by telling them the truth. We don't need to just let them be. You know, we can't do that. We have to be honest and speak to them. And we got to care, as Aaron says all the time. I care too much about you to not tell you the truth.
You know, Mr. Mayor, I see some new faces out there, and thank you, scholars, for turning your cameras on. That actually helps us. I can't believe we're almost to the finish line, but I was just wondering, just to hear a voice, if a few of them would say at least what their word was, and say a little bit about what they think about this conversation. I see Sister Lamb out there, and your spirit coming through. Unmic yourself. What was your word? What do you think about this conversation? Tell us where you are. Introduce yourself.
I'm Michelle Lamb. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. I also had my event this August 28th, which was a success.
Oh, wonderful.
Give us some snaps.
But my words were blessed and hopeful, because we reached a lot of people. I had news coverage from 2 different news stations here in Cincinnati. I had radio coverage. I had the politicians come out. I had the Black doctors come out. I mean, it was off the chain.
Awesome.
I had a DJ. I mean, closing the health gap, really all out for this event with us. So
we are
congratulations.
We're so proud of you, Michelle.
Congratulations. And be
Michelle,
sure to see those
you
clips.
got it going on.
it was great. I'm telling you. And our next event is September the 18th. The customers and the people in the community got the Pfizer, so they're coming back for the second shot. As a matter of fact, that day, some people came for their second shot, some people came for their first shot. And the Cincinnati Health Department gave out $100 gift cards to every shots. I mean, it was really off the chain.
Wow.
I am so blessed. And I'm blessed to be able to get people out to get their vaccination.
Let's give us some snaps.
Come on now.
Let's give us some love.
Absolutely. I mean, it was
love
nice.
you so much.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hey, Danita McGee, how are you doing? Unmute and tell us what your word was and what's going on with you, and tell us where you are and the name of your shop.
I am in Little Rock, Arkansas. The name of my salon is Panache Beauty and Barber. I'm actually in the process of getting my event established. What I'm doing with my event is I've made, masks, I've packaged up PPP, a lot of information and sanitizer and stuff like that to hand out to just get the people to come out. Because sometimes in our community, if you're not giving nothing, they don't want to come out. Right. That's just the way to get, the people to come out.
Right. That's powerful. Let's give her some snaps
Come on
too.
Now. Hey,
absolutely.
Michelle.
Give us some love. Absolutely.
Michelle, reach out there and be a mentor to Dominica. You're muted,
Absolutely.
sister. You're muted.
Good.
So we're gonna put the two of you together.
Hey, Andre, how you doing, man?
I'm sorry. Hey, Dominique, whatever you need.
Very good. Very good.
Andre, what's going on in the ATL?
His camera just went off. Go to Katrina Tuck.
Okay, who's up next?
Hey, Katrina, unmute yourself, Katrina.
Hello.
Hey,
Tell
Katrina.
us, introduce yourself.
I'm doing well. I'm Katrina Tuck from Maryland, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And
All
my
right.
barbershop name is Cuts Unlimited. And we haven't established our vaccination clinic yet, but in a few weeks.
Well, you're in the neighborhood. Yeah. We're going to work with you, hold some hands with you. So I'm glad you're here tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks. Let's give her some snaps. Absolutely. We got to give folk love. Absolutely. Yeah. Andre,
Mayor O'Neill, can I add this? I just put in the chat. We had a really nice story that ran on the national PBS. So I put it in the chat if people want to take that link and take a peek at it. It's been very well received, but it really talks about vaccine.
Yeah. Well, Andre, Aaron, we're working on a web page that will highlight all of you barbers and stylists as wellness warriors. I mean, that's really what you're out there doing. So keep those clips, those news stories. We're going to have a way of amplifying that for you, lifting that up.
Excellent.
I can't believe it's 8:26, but we got Mr. Wilson out there. Hey, Mr. Wilson, unmute yourself. Is it Tito? Yeah. Go.
Hey.
Tito.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. So I've been here in a few weeks. I've been pretty busy.
Tell us where you are and the name of your shop.
For those that don't know, but yep, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The name of my shop is Wilson's Image Barbers and Stylists. And so we have been doing literally since we started July 9th, and we've been doing vaccines in my shop every Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Friday and Saturday since then. The initial plan, so we're connected with the Minnesota Department of Health. The initial plan was go 6 weeks. And just to see if people would come and come and get their vaccinations or whatever. So I mean, it literally has gone so well that they extended our contract out to the end of October. And the doctors and the nurses that come in my shop to do the vaccination, they're looking like this might be. We might push this thing into next year. So we've been doing a great job. We got myself and one of the doctors. They actually recorded some commercials that's been running on the airways here. I mean, it was literally all through the Olympics. And I actually just saw for the first time, I mean, I've seen all of the videos. There's like all the commercials. There's like 4 different commercials. I've seen all just in my email, but I actually last night I was here watching TV, and I finally for the first time saw that commercial, one of the commercials on television.
Wow.
So we've been all over the news, so I mean, we've done hundreds of shots. Hundreds of shots since the beginning of July. So things are going great here.
Let's give Tito some snaps. Let's give him some love. Tito, thanks, man, for what you're doing. You're making a difference, right? We got Andre. We got to make it short because we are working on something. But I couldn't not leave without.
Hello, I didn't hear. I lost you guys. Did y'all hear everything I said?
Yeah, we heard you, Tito. We got you. Thank you,
Hello?
Tito. Okay,
Yeah,
Andre.
okay, I appreciate you recognizing me. I do have one question. Hopefully it won't take too long. Since we've been doing this and since we're getting started up at the airport, the health department has said something about some monoclonal, whatever this is.
Antibodies.
Yeah. And they're wanting to also rent my shops. I'm not familiar with it, but to me, it's one of those things where I'm not sure if it's going to create a problem with people already not wanting to get a shot or whatever. I'm just not familiar with it.
Hold on, Dr. Tuesday Cook. Isn't that a therapeutic, not a preventative thing?
Yes, that's correct. It's therapeutic, and it's generally given not in a community setting. So it'd be a little odd, I thought, for them to administer a monoclonal antibody in a shop, unless it's being done in a way that I'm not used to hearing. It's not usually something that's given out in the community.
Well, yeah, because I've got a couple of large shops, and they said that they don't do it in less than 4,400 square feet. And of course, my shops are larger than that. So
it doesn't matter about the size of the space. What matters is the setting.
I'm saying, yeah, it's the health department. So, but I wanted to get some. It just came up today. So
tell them to send you something in writing that explains exactly what they're talking about. So that way you'll definitely be able to know and use one of us as a resource.
And then send it to us so we can get it to Dr. Cook and Dr. Ritter and let them look at it as well. Okay.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Well,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Thank you,
Omar.
man. Love you.
And I appreciate it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And say hello to the wife.
Yeah, she's right here. And Dr. T, don't forget, I still need backup at the airport because they said, oh, wait, it's going to be a little tedious. I said, well, I got the guy.
Okay, we'll follow up on both of those issues. Omar, take us home, buddy.
All right. Well, again, this has been an incredible evening. You know, sometimes we just need to come together and just have a conversation. No real agenda. Just let's talk. Let's talk to each other because we believe that we are doing some good and that good is going to come from this and that the Creator will get all the glory. It's not about us. And we need to rest in knowing that the battle was not yours, right? It's the Lord's, and you are doing the good work, and we're trying to save lives. And let's do that. Let's do that with all of our heart. Let's not get weary in well-doing, for in due season we will reap if we faint not.
Preach.
As always, I'd like to leave you with these two words. Remember that I love you with the perfect love. But more importantly, remember this. You got the power.
All
Until
right.
next week.
You got
Bye-bye.
the power. Bye-bye. And spread the word. And Sandra Jenkins, we want to hear from you next week. Come on now. Be safe. Wear those masks.
Thank you.